Imagine this. Your thoughts, your beliefs, your feelings. This is your house. But is it your home? Hi, I'm Nelson DeMello, and join me as we try to find our home beyond our borders.
I don't know. I think that's fine.
Yeah, that's a good take.
And so that was one key moment. Another key moment, I ended all connections with my parents for a while because of, and they didn't mean to do this, right? But this just oppressive thing that I didn't know who I was, what I was, right? Because I was in this bubble. I was very sheltered and this and that, and for good reason. I understand all of that. But I think if I were to communicate to them, because that was a problem. I just didn't tell how I felt or what I thought to my parents because I didn't think they would understand, or maybe I mean, it goes both ways. Maybe they didn't have the capacity to understand like my needs, my wants. But because I couldn't do that, and I didn't necessarily know that I needed to understand who I was by exploring, by expressing, and just seeing like where the chips lay if I just threw them all out, and to see the, because I had that. I was chaotically irresponsible with expressing myself just to see what stuck. After, and that was like a whole other arc. And that was a good arc, I guess, a fun arc. But it's just such a weird thing trying to develop a identity, personality when you're 20 years old. You know what I mean? Maybe that's what's healthiest. I don't know, but but yeah, I just didn't have that communication with my parents to be like, hey, I don't know who I am, and I want to find out, and I'm gonna make mistakes because I don't know. Maybe they'd be like, okay, like at least you don't have bad intentions, evil intentions. Like I'm being innocent in my pursuit. Why do I bring all of this? Why does this all fit into ADHD? I think a lot of what I repressed because of this structured, organized. Dude, my dad's a legend. Like he woke up like 5 in the morning, and would get home from work at like 9 p.m. every day for like 20 years, dude. This guy was the most hardworking, most disciplined guy ever. And he just like, if he had something to do, he would do it. If he said he was going to do it, it was done. He was just a man of his word. He was just like this, I am not like that. I am not loyal. I am not like things like, but I had that in my head. Like, this is the goal. This is what I have to be. And so I think a lot of the ADHD, like there was a lot of conflict there, I do think I had this dyslexia for a little while, because I remember when there was a time where like schedule shifts or whatever, my dad helped me do homework, and he would literally make me rewrite pages upon pages. He was like, bro, the B does not look like that. And I was like, I'm just confused. I don't know if it goes left or right, and like I would oh dude, it was such a, and like we would argue, like he would yell at me because he didn't know how to deal with just I'm a kid, dude, that didn't want to understand. Like I was just stubborn. I was a stubborn kid, and he was like, bro, I can't do this. And so it was like, it ended up being my mom. He's like, bro, I'm like traumatizing this kid. I need to stop. And so that was like, that happened. And so I just think that my false self became this protection, this armor for this ADHD person, this person who like wanted to just be happy, be expressive, and just like frolic in the flowers, and just be a hippie, right? But the world, my dad, my parents, like all of that told me you can't. Today there's a lot more balance. Now I'm skewed to being a hippie, like by a lot, but I also understand that like I can't live out of my car, like I especially now that I'm married. Like, I mean, I guess I could have married some hippie girl that we like that, but that would have just drawn me. Like there is beauty, testimony. There is like something special about stability. And I think that's like I would say maybe one of the traits I like about myself the most, like not recently, but like, in this present time, is my stability. It's this, because I used to be very impulsive and I used to just go by what I feel. And now my feelings are very stable. And like, cause I would do something like, oh, it's the classic, let's hang out on Friday. Yeah, let's hang out on Friday. And then Friday comes and I'm like, dude, I'm not feeling this. Hopefully they forget, or hopefully they, come, have other plans, or da-da-da. But that was like with everything. And so it was like, we either do things right now or we don't do them because I don't know how I'm going to be feeling. But now I can plan ahead and be like, no, this is what I wanted 2 weeks ago. I still want this thing, That blows my mind. And that to me is like testimony of how far we can go with change. But going back, and so, yeah, that I think I was protecting that child. Another thing that like kind of started slipping into why I wanted to go to therapy was like, there was this 12-year-old innocent me, like whatever the innocent you, the real self, whenever that real self, when you think back about this person, like the inner child is that real self. And I thought to myself that my real self is like, doesn't want to hang out with external me, my false self. And I thought that, and I was like, dude, I want to be somebody that inner self, that the inner child, the real self can be proud of. I want that congruency. I didn't have the words for it, but that's what I craved. That's what I was wanting. And I think that it was that idea, and then the idea of like, well, if you want everything you want, if you want all the girls, if you want success, if you want all these things, you're gonna have to kill that kid. I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it. And so yeah, releasing bitterness, anger, resentment, having that time, that freedom. It's kind of sad to say, but when I said, hey guys, I don't want to see you, talk to you guys, I also didn't communicate that well. They thought I was going to like kill myself or something. And they did, they like checked up on me, and I was like, you can't come to my job, like you can't do this. And it was the time that I experienced the most freedom. And there was like a kid-like joy in me to be like, I'm free, and it's sad that I had to get that far. And I had to be so extreme and all of this stuff. And I'm a dramatic person, so maybe I didn't even have to be that extreme, but I totally, and I was giving that advice to people like, dude, just cut off communication with your parents. You live so much better. And I think that's true for a lot of people. What happened after maybe, it wasn't close to a year, but it was more than half a year, is that I started to miss them. And I just was so embarrassed and ashamed to try to reconcile with them, because I totally hated them. Like I realized, like, dude, you hated them kind of for nothing, like out of miscommunication. You know what I mean? And like with no compassion. One thing that I realized is, as my arc started progressing and I started becoming this like ball of love and ball of life and ball of joy, I realized that I can have compassion for everyone. Like I remember one time, which I think was a little small thing, but this one of my classmates, lab partners, she told me like, so I had my legs stretched out in the hallway, and this girl was walking, and she stopped, and she was like, "Excuse me," and I was like, "Oh, my bad," and I raised my feet like closer to me so that she can walk through, and she walked through, and then my lab mate was like, "Bro, what the hell is wrong with that woman?" You know, like, why couldn't she just walk over your legs? That's like what normal people do. And I was like, bro, she's probably having a bad day. You know, so it was like that kind of thing. It was like, bro, you're way better than me in that. I'm like, I didn't even think about it. You know, like, I don't even think about that. But anyways, I have this compassion. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Maybe I've lost a little bit of it, but I had this compassion of like, bro, people are going through things. People are like, they can't, they're going through life, man. They have their own problems, their own things, and they're going to take it out on strangers sometimes, you know? And so I was like, dude, whatever she's going through, that's on her. You know, that has nothing to do with me, and it don't affect me and this and that. But I couldn't do that with my parents. Like, specifically, I couldn't do that with my dad. Like, treat him like, hey, he's going through stuff and he has his own stuff, his own background and this and that. And what's crazy is I knew his background, you know, he talked about it, testimony, you know, it was public. And that convicted me. That put something in my heart of like, dang, dude, like you can be compassionate, you can be understanding with everybody except for your dad. That's like, that's lame, you know? And so that was another thing that I started to go through. And now, again, I have remnants of this stuff. I still deal with it. But again, it's not... It's more out of habit and out of personality than it is about protecting myself. It's out of defensiveness. You know what I mean? Because that was healed, I guess. I don't know. I gotta go to work.
Wait, hold up. If at any point in this you said, hey, I never thought about it like that, please subscribe. What are you doing, man? I'm trying to pay my bills. Okay, anyways, let's get back to the serious stuff. All right, see it. Yeah, so this is day 2. I wasn't done with that. I realized there's a lot of episodes of I realized a lot of the complex in that narcissism was that I was smarter than everyone. And that was kind of my basis to gauge people. That's something about narcissism is narcissists will make up the rules of value that benefit them, of course, and then play by those rules. And so my thing was intellect. And so if you weren't smart, but it wasn't like book smart necessarily, because I remember being like displeased, I guess, or like I would throw away some people that were very intelligent but couldn't connect the dots. So it was this special thing. And there are a few people in my life that hit those metrics that I respected as a narcissist. And it was actually them. Thank God they were Christian and they were living it out well and correctly. I know that's a weird thing to say, but they walk it like they talk it, you know, as never mind. And that was the factor, I guess. It was people that I respected teaching me and showing me beyond. And I was like, okay, if these guys that I consider peers or equals or whatever can actually push me beyond this, then I should go. I should follow suit a little bit. Maybe that was the case. But yeah, there was a lot of episodes where I'd get in a lot of trouble, I guess. I'd hurt a lot of people's feelings because I was blunt, you know, about a lot of things. But again, it's, I don't know. I hear there's this like toxic, maybe not so much now, but there was this narrative of like I'm just being myself. I'm just true to myself. I just speak facts, you know, all this and that. And like, you're just a booty hole. You know what I mean? You're just a jerk. You're not, there's a right way to say it. And I guess I've talked about it before and how I'm like progressing and still like picking the right time, picking the right words, picking the right tone. All of these things matter. And yeah, but
Yeah, I think talking about that complex, I don't know if I touched on everything, and that's kind of what I'm like concerned about, right? Because I want to flip the page, talk about a different facet of my life in a chronological order, but I also don't want to miss anything. Of course, like it might come up here and there, but I just can't think of anything. So if someone in my past listens to this and says, "Well, you didn't mention," look, man, the past is the past. Move on. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I mean, yeah, all right. Good. All right, yeah. I think that's it. But hopefully, we gotta flip this around. You know what I mean? Okay. Oh, yeah. So let me, I guess, continue a little more. So yeah, I had to. Well, no, I guess that was it. And I know it was like more subtle, but giving up the bitterness and envy that fueled this false self, and then replacing it with affirmation and love. And we talked about how you can't do that for yourself. It has to come from something above, and or something, like you're derivative of something, and whatever that original thing is, that can give you value. Honestly, I know that sounds, I don't know, lame or whatever the case is, but I don't see it any other way. Because the thing that you're derivative of, if that has value, then you have a derivative of that value. If the thing doesn't have value, then you don't have value, and you can't convince yourself otherwise. So there's that, and then there was the reconciling, and the reconciliation was a lot of. See, it wasn't a textbook or like a storybook ending. And I say that because like even to this day, I don't necessarily feel 100% understood by my parents. And even like, I don't think they understood the narrative of what was going on back then either. Like, because there was a letter I wrote which traumatized them, because it was like a letter, they would read it like every night. Well, my dad would, which is like an awful, like, yeah. So basically, I wrote all my grievances one time, and he took it poorly. That was a like another step into the distance between us. This was, I don't know, I was like 18, 19. And yeah, it just created more tension. And in that, I was trying to express something I didn't really understand. And because I think what I wanted to write was, hey, I don't feel seen, right? Like, I have abilities, I have personality, I have like, I'm my own person, but you don't see that. Like, you're projecting. We talked about that before, and I was trying to say something like that, but instead I would say stuff like, I was a great soccer player, and you didn't support me, like, financially. You didn't try to, do this and that, like make connections with coaches and that. And it's like, bro, I can't do that, like, I can only live within my capabilities, But I think that's what was behind it, was I just don't feel seen. I don't feel seen, appreciated, like, oh wow, you have these good characteristics and and I didn't say that. So like, in that time of processing and all of that, like, I remember my mom would like kind of constantly apologize. I say kind of, and then constantly, like, they're not oxymoron. Like, that's not an oxymoron. It was just every once in a while, she would, like, maybe filled with guilt, whatever it was, she would be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, we didn't do that." And I'm like, yeah, I don't care about that. And I guess I never told her what I actually cared about. So here I am. No, I'm just kidding. I don't expect them to even listen to this stuff, and I hope they don't, because this is awkward. So, but I mean, it is what it is. Especially the next few episodes that I will be recording. Yeah, there's just something something refreshing. There's something refreshing about strangers knowing your story, and not people who you have to look at every day. So, anyways, but yeah, so there was that, and then I mean that I don't know if that's a satisfying ending, and that's why I'm stretching this out and milking it, because I'm gonna edit a lot of this, and I actually am this time. The intro, like the first video, I didn't edit anything because I was like, I like this raw thing that homeboy does. Sorry, Rick Glassman. I like how it's done that way, because then there's no edits, there's no like in time, except yeah, I guess there is. I don't know, but it's just I like for you to be in the know, and I'm just here now, just talking out of my booty. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's essentially it. Like, my life changed. I gave up control of trying to satisfy myself by my own ideas, my own desires, my own strength. I gave all of that up. Psalms 37:4, delight in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. I've experienced that. My desires changed as I pursued God. And I felt more whole. I felt fully loved, fully accepted, and living in that freedom to be whatever I wanted to be. In the sense that, because like, I feel like you say that now and it's, I'm going to go be a squirrel. I'm going to go be, whatever. And that's not what I mean. It's pursuing the truest version of myself, the most innocent version of myself, before the sexuality, before sexual identity, before hormones and puberty. Who is that person, that personality? Who is that innocence? Who is that joyful, blissful kid? And I got to be that person. And that's the power of the love of God, I think. And reconciling with people around you. Extending the olive branch at a stalemate, and being able to reconcile with people you didn't see that was possible, you didn't think was possible. I mean, to me, those are the miracles, and that really is, like, if you think about who you are, how can you not be who you are right now? You know what I mean? I don't know if that made sense, but how can you go left if you've always gone right? How can you, like, if I gave you the choices between, like, I don't know, chocolate, ice cream, and pizza, and you always pick chocolate, how could you ever pick pizza? You know what I mean? Like, you are the way you are. You can't just stop being yourself. And something like that kind of happened, which I think is miraculous. And again, a stalemate and division, like the strongholds that kept that together, like the dark forces, there has to be broken down, and my hand could extend to the other person and shake their hand. Those things are, I think, way better than speaking tongues and prophesying and whatever. I think those go farther, they're deeper, they have more fruit. They change the course of your history. I don't know if speaking in tongues does. I know that's a sidebar, but yeah, I think there's real change that can be done, and people just chase these mystical experiences. Yeah, I pray for anyone who is cripplingly selfish. I pray for anyone who
has that void, has a lot of hurt, pain, bitterness, God, I pray that you can restore, that you can heal, that you can reconcile, that you can teach and show and guide, that you can humble. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. I also forgot something about humility that I learned, because that's obviously very important to a narcissist, is that humility isn't about thinking other people are better than you. That's having a low self-esteem. Tim Keller taught me this, and that humility is having no esteem. It's not thinking highly of yourself. It's not thinking lowly of yourself. It's not thinking about yourself. I think that's very important, because narcissism can be covert and overt. That's the two sides of that coin of esteem. Like, if that bar that I mentioned, if you're at this bar, if you created this bar in your head, this is worthy people, and that's the crazy part. You can write the rules where you're on top and everyone's on bottom, right? Some people, some narcissists, write the rules where they're on bottom and everyone else is on top. And so they're subtle and manipulative and all of these things to get them to do things, because they think, oh my God, I'm just the worst. Oh my God, they'll break my heart. Oh, to me, that the stereotype is like the Mexican grandma who's like, oh, please don't do that. You're going to kill me. Oh my God. And it's like, okay, grandma, I won't do the thing. Usually it's like a tattoo or a piercing, or like date this person, or, get this job, go to army, whatever. Like, you know what I mean? And they use, like, because they're like, oh my God, I'm so fragile, I'm so weak. Oh my God. But they're only thinking about themselves, right? That spoke to somebody. I know it did. And I was on the opposite end of that, which is like, you guys all suck. I'm going to do this. I'm going to write my first album. I'm going to get a Grammy, because artistry is dead. It's like, it's only me and Kendrick out here. You know what I mean? And yeah, that feeling, you know what I'm saying? And so humility looks more like you don't think about yourself at all. He says that an ego that is in pain draws attention to itself. Anything that is in pain draws attention to itself. You don't wake up thinking about your elbow and think like, oh, my elbows are perfect today. Oh my gosh. But if you woke up and your elbow is hurting, that's all you're going to think about. You're going to be like, oh man, you're going to like not even bump into stuff. Maybe you bump into stuff and it's like, oh my gosh. But like you do a movement, you're like, oh no, dude, not my elbow. And so you're going to constantly be thinking about your elbow. The same applies to your ego. So an afflicted ego draws attention to itself. And so that means that if you are fully healed, accepted, not fully, fully healed, there's if the deep wounds are gone, you're pretty much there. People, day-to-day life might affect you in certain ways, but you can build resilience, you can build a tough skin, all that. Okay. But if you're fully accepted, fully loved, fully healed, then things slide off of you, right? And if things are sliding off of you, you're not even thinking about yourself. You're thinking of maybe the task at hand. You're thinking about the people in your life, how to benefit them, how to not screw them over, but you're thinking outward, because inward is figured out. That was a brain busting, enlightening, like I had to digest that for months when I came across that at the right time. And that's the thing, man. The timing is everything. To anyone who is suffering from the narcissistic traits that can acknowledge it and it's like, I'm stuck, all I can say is you have to have grace with yourself, because it's not going to happen overnight. And this is going to be like, this is the story of a Christian, which is, you got saved yesterday. You're still the piece of crap you were 3 days ago. You know what I mean? There's this transition.
And it's a transition in mind, in behavior, and attitude, and how you see how you see people. And the only way to get through that, I would strongly suggest therapy. But it's, well, for one, apologizing is the ego killer. Okay. If you get in some kind of, tussle or whatever, and you are like, I don't want to apologize, do it anyways. Because what you're doing is telling your brain, you're not that important. You're not that good. Like, you're not, like, this world doesn't revolve around you. Like, you can mess up. And that's another thing, is you have the space to mess up. I apologize means that what it means, I messed up. The world isn't going to end when you admit that. So there's that's something to think about. Be gracious with yourself, because no one will be. No one can be. Not to the effect that it's important in you, in your life. Maybe, if you're married, your spouse, that's a whole thing, complicated thing. But understanding that it's not going to happen overnight, and it's worth it. I don't think anything that requires no effort is worth it. Does that make sense? I mean, like, you want to be fit. It's going to take a couple of months, couple of years in the gym. Same thing with your emotions and your brain. It's going to take a couple of years. And seeing the progress, I think, is also, like, rewarding. So, okay, I think that's it. Hey guys, thank you so much for going on this journey with me. If you like the content, please like, subscribe, follow, and remember, there is more to life, and that is good news. Thank you guys so much. Have a great day.